So you just don't pay attention to what I'm doing.
You send every news story you fuck.
That's not really true.
And yes, it is.
No,
I'll tell you right now. You want me to prove it to you?
No,
well, okay, I know you read a lot more than you send.
I read a lot more than I send.
Yeah. Okay, so that part was not true. But
so you start. Okay, let's just show 132. Mark lies.
I was exaggerating. I'm being a fucking asshole right now.
You're lying about exaggerating or exaggerating about your lying?
Let's see. Monday you sent one.
I didn't lie about exaggerating.
When I come
Sunday
across,
you said something.
Yeah, when I come across stuff,
Sunday
it's just really
Sunday
weird.
Again.
Here,
Is that just drunk texting?
No,
Is that drunk texting?
Here, you want to know something I came across today?
Yeah.
This is impossible. Yet this man is going to run for vice president with Donald Trump. Are you ready? JD Vance last month sent a tweet that said this: that Jeffrey Epstein died in service of our country.
I'm assuming that's a typo.
You have to be kidding me.
No,
right?
he didn't take that back. He died in service of our country.
Maybe he means a different.
What service?
Maybe there's a different Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe he's talking about first class Jeffrey.
No,
private first class. William Santiago.
Yes, he is. There's a Jeffrey Epstein
I don't know the
in the
packing
Marines.
habits. Yeah, I don't know the packing habits or the travel habits of one PFC Santiago.
But you do of Epstein. You know his travel habits.
Yeah, we do. He's got a plane,
Yes.
and I know where it goes. Yeah. And then he said he followed it up. This is how you know he's talking about that one. He said, Ghislaine, is that Ghislaine Maxwell?
Giselle Maxwell, yeah.
Giselle.
Ought to be released.
Yeah.
This is a man who's running.
Full release?
He's running
Pretty sure
for
she
vice
knows
president.
how to do that.
Yeah.
And he thinks somehow that Jeffrey Epstein died in service of our country. And I just want to know, and no follow-up to what that service was. And is if it's providing minor girls to rich adult men, I don't know where that is in the Constitution.
Well, maybe the service was he was going to provide the list of the people who were on Epstein's island, and obviously he didn't make it before he was able to divulge that information. That's why they're still speculating if it's a suicide or was it an actual murder, and the cameras were off for a period of time in that MCC cell he was being held in New York. So that's still speculation.
Yeah, but they're saying. I mean, but the right is saying the left are the ones that killed him. When in fact, who was in charge of the government at the time? Trump. Who was in charge of the fucking prisons at the time? Who was in charge of that guy?
I think the Bureau of Prisons is like a separate, it's like a whole separate bureaucracy.
No, it's not. It's run. No, not the federal prisons. Absolutely not. It's run by.
But the federal. I mean, the president is no more in charge of the federal prisons than Biden is in charge of gas prices.
Yeah.
You handpick the people, then handpick the people that run those. Those are all patronage positions.
Yeah.
Well, some of those positions you actually can't, like for example, the head of Fannie and Freddie Mac, he couldn't fire them because I guess there was like a clause where he couldn't like recall them, and they actually changed that. Like
this isn't one of those cases though.
Yeah.
You pick the attorney general. You pick Secretary of Defense. You pick the person. I forgot. Was it Will Barr? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Bill Barr. Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Barr. You pick him. He picks his cronies, puts them in these patronage positions to run the federal systems. And in fact, the guy that was running that system was handpicked, and he wasn't in charge any longer than that administration. To my best of my recollection.
Why was the videotape not working? That was trained on his cell. He was under suicide watch, and nobody was watching.
No, it was perfect. Ted,
nobody's watching him.
He was under suicide watch,
exactly.
And he committed suicide. So it was perfect.
They watched him commit suicide.
Yeah, I mean, it can't get any better than that. There's something really creepy about JD Vance.
It's always been.
Yeah.
Always been.
And again, I sum it up like this: where
he's only like 38 years old too.
Yeah, with JD Vance, this is the kind of thing I picture JD Vance doing. Right? He's standing with his friend, and he goes, "Look at those two kids." And the guy goes, "Which kid? The one in the blue shirt?" And then JD Vance would go, "No, the hot one."
You assume he has a friend though.
There's
no way
guys
this
like
guy
him
has
have friends.
He's
Guys
a
like him
creep.
have friends.
I don't know.
Yeah, and you saw this thing, and I couldn't believe. In 2016 and earlier, before Trump, right before Trump got elected the first time, he was a never Trumper, right?
He called Trump a Nazi. I think
he
back
called
in
Trump America's Hitler.
Yeah.
He called him America's Hitler,
Yeah.
and then he just pimped himself right over.
Well, Kamala Harris called Joe Biden pretty much a segregationist, like during the first debate. Yeah, and then obviously they
she wanted to know why he was supporting that.
Yeah,
yeah,
Well, back in '72, he was he was the buddies with a lot of the KKK members who were openly KKK, and they were like members of this, the Senate. Like Robert Byrd, that was like his mentor.
Yeah, those guys.
Well, she called him out.
She did.
Yeah.
She called him out,
and he answered, and they talked about that. but she didn't call him a fucking Nazi.
No, she didn't call. She didn't
She didn't
straight
say
up
he's
call
the
America's.
She never said he's the worst thing for America.
Right. But he actually did. I think he went public that he didn't want like mixed race. He didn't want his kids going to school with black kids. He actually was on record saying that back in obviously back in the early 80s or 70s. So
it was the 70s.
Yeah,
it was in the 70s.
Obviously, he changed his position since then.
I mean, don't we? I mean, listen, that's not cool. That is totally not cool. Yeah. But aren't we all different people than we were 40 years ago? 30 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, for better or worse, we're all different people. I was not as accepting as I am right now. I can tell you that right now.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not going to air my dirty laundry, but I will never run for president or anything where they will look it up. But yeah, I wasn't. And then I just started figuring out that everybody is their own person.
Yeah, you change your position. I mean,
right.
Here's what happens is you have a certain belief system, and then if you're a sane, rational person, your belief system changes over time as new information becomes available. The people who are truly crazy have a belief system, and no matter what you tell them, even if it's factual, they never change their belief system. And those are the people that are, kind of, you can't reach those people because they have a belief system, and come hell or high water, they believe that even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Like, hey, I think the Earth is flat. No, it's round, and here's 10 different scientific studies to show. Here's aerial satellite footage that shows that it's clearly a sphere. No, man, it's a deep fake.
Well, do remember this? Kyrie Irving said that he believed that Earth was flat, and now he's changed his mind.
Yeah.
So you know what? I mean, even though they lost, in basketball, to the Celtics, he did change his mind. You have to respect that, right? You have to respect the fact that he finally thinks the Earth is round.
He was
he just did it to leave people leave him alone.
Yeah.
All right. And here's the other weird thing I found today. I just don't understand this. A woman was arrested. She was in the January 6th riots, and they just finally arrested her. Okay? She went to the riot, all right, when she broke in with her and her friend, 2 ladies. You ready? When she was there and she broke in, they have video of her with these things. Are you ready? On her body, waving around when she broke in, okay? A short sword, a steel tactical whip, which I don't even know what that is. I didn't even have time to look it up. Is that like a whip that's made out of steel? I mean, is that a thing?
It's like a baton?
Is that like Indiana Jones? Is there someone training right now in the U.S. Army?
I think it's one of those. It's like a thin stick. They call it a whip because it's like thick on the handle and it thins out at the top and it's steel. Do you know what I mean? Can you picture that?
I can.
It's like one of those.
All right. She had that. She had a collapsible baton.
That's what I think. That's what I'm thinking.
This is different. The steel tactical whip is different. A collapsible baton, pepper spray, a butterfly knife, a flashlight. I use either a flashlight or a fleshlight taser. I don't know which one would be scarier. If somebody pulled out a flashlight and tased you, or if someone pulled out a dildo that was a taser, would you be like, hey, are we going to get it on? And then they just tase you. Would that be the worst? Because you would go from happy to really sad, right?
So it was just a normal day.
Right. And she was wearing a tactical vest.
So she was just on a normal tour. It was just like a normal thing.
So she obviously, there was
she
a plan.
was Antifa.
There was a plan.
She was planted there.
Oh, she was.
She was a plant.
She was a professional agitator.
She's really
never
Trumper.
Professional agitator. Yeah, they do that. Like they have professional protesters. They're not really.
She's taking one
who show up to murder people.
Yeah.
She had murder stuff.
She's taking one for the team.
Yeah.
She literally had everything she needed to kill a shitload of people. Everything but a gun to kill everyone.
Which probably would have been easier. I mean, what are you talking about? Hand-to-hand combat with?
I don't know if nobody had a gun in there, right? They took.
No.
They took a cop's gun. I thought they took a cop's gun.
No, there was 100% people that had weapons, guns.
Really?
Yeah.
But the only person who got killed was that one protester, Ashley Babbitt. She actually got shot by the D.C. police. I think that was the only fatality. And
I thought one of the cops died.
And I think a cop got hit with like a
fire extinguisher.
Yeah, fire extinguisher. Yeah. But the only firearm discharge was that.
Well, he died the next day from he had a heart attack or something from trauma. Yeah, and he got maced by bear
mace,
bear spray.
Oh man, dude, that's rough, man. I can't even imagine what bear mace. If bear mace is worse than regular mace,
well, it's got to stop a bear.
Not one on cocaine though.
Yeah, no. Then you just throw more cocaine at it. Did you see during the during that hurricane that they were having? they said that somebody's Coke got
$1 million worth of coke washed up on because that Hurricane Betty, I guess with the rains, I think it was like 20 inches of rain, somewhere in the Florida area, like $1 million worth of coke washed up on, whatever in Miami,
Southwest Florida, or southeast.
So are we headed down. I mean, I know that
was it Miami or the Gulf Coast? Because I know Fort Myers got flooded.
It's Miami. I think it's all on the Atlantic side.
Yeah, but
Cocaine,
it's rolling
Cocaine
up there.
Betty. That's what they're calling the hurricane. Cocaine Betty.
Cocaine Betty.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's moving closer. We could just get on a flight and go see if we could find some Coke somewhere. I mean, it's,
you want to do a bump?
Yeah. I mean, $1 million worth of Coke. That's
we're not.
We're set.
Ted and I are different than you. Ted and I have never seen cocaine.
You're okay.
I've seen baking soda.
I've never seen cocaine.
You've never seen cocaine?
Nope.
You just close your eyes when you did it?
I've never seen cocaine.
I've never seen it. I've never seen anyone do it. I've never been in a room with anyone who did it. So I wouldn't know how to get it, except if I went to Florida. I guess if I went to Florida and put like a fishing net in the water, I guess.
You know what? I take that back. I take that back now that you just said that.
Yeah.
I was at a party and we went down in the basement and I did see somebody doing cocaine. We went right back upstairs.
There was lines
on the washer and dryer. Yeah, we went right back upstairs.
Well, actually,
wow, the washer and dryer.
That was the only time. That was the one and only time.
Eddie Murphy told that story. He said, I guess, like when he was 19, I didn't know he was only 19 when he was on SNL, but I guess like John Belushi and somebody else like invited him to a party and they were all doing coke, and he's like, hey, they offered him something. He's like, no, I'm just going to get out of here, and he didn't do it. So and then obviously John Belushi died soon after from a
Eddie Murphy killed John Belushi?
No, I'm just like he obviously he said because
Ted?
of his race, he said he had to play it straight because he couldn't afford to get in any type of trouble. At that
SNL
time.
was very racist.
Yeah. So he had
great
to play
book. By the way, if you ever have, and it's a big book, I listened to it. It's like 25 hours audiobook.
Yeah, you told me to read it.
The history of Saturday Night Live is absolutely stellar.
I love listening to the cast members talk about it. Like,
and it was they had
Mike
everybody.
Myers
Yeah, they almost everybody they could getting on there and talking about all the different things.
Dr. Evil was based off of Lorne Michaels.
Was it really?
The way he talked and everything, yeah. That's how Lorne Michaels kind of talks.
Really?
$1 million. It's exactly. I mean, that's who he's mimicking. That's who Dr. Evil is.
Who's Fat Bastard then?
I don't know.
Conor McGregor.
What?
It sounds like Conor McGregor.
Do not make fun of Conor McGregor. I love him in Roadhouse.
No, but I'm saying, but if you listen to Fat Bastard, like obviously before Conor McGregor was a big thing, Roadhouse.
All right, here, let's get this thing rolling, man. This is the Real Three Idiots podcast, and happy National Purple Heart Day. It's for those who were wounded or killed in duty, and it actually started as an award for meritorious service. In 1944, it then became an award for people who were wounded or killed in duty. So from everybody sitting here, and I know you guys feel the same way, everybody who's ever served, including you, Teddy, we appreciate everything you've ever done. Yeah, and I know, Teddy, you were injured when you were peeling potatoes. You got a pretty nasty cut there.
Yeah. Actually, no, I was peeling an onion, and I think I had to rub my eye, and then I started to cry a little bit. It felt like bear mace spray in my eye. So.
I didn't know that was today. I would have brought my Purple Heart. I have a Purple Heart at home.
From your
My
grandfather?
dad. No, my dad. Well, my grandfather has one too, but my grandma won't give that to anybody. But Nolan has my dad's. My dad gave it to Nolan, so we have it in the house. My dad's still alive, but he gave it to Nolan like 10 years ago.
Oh, hold on.
I have a real Purple Heart in the
cool.
case in his room.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. New theme song, because last week we got an underwhelming response.
Yeah.
From the choice that I made.
Yeah.
I thought it was a pretty good song, but
you made choices, and choices had consequences, and now here you are.
You know what? Choices have consequences. Yeah, and it came back as usual.
This one's going to have one too.
No, this is a great song.
We'll talk about it later.
This is a great song. Okay. Well, you didn't give me your song. You said you had a song, but you didn't give it to me, so I picked this song instead. Just wait for it. Wait for it. You do not see this coming.
Science. It's poetry in motion. She turned her tender eyes to me as deep as any ocean.
It's so terrible. He is the worst.
He's like, where's Waldo? He's like everywhere.
That sounds great, though.
He is the worst.
That's good to listen to after you had like about 10 hits of like a bong or something.
Could you even imagine that? I mean, that's kind of It's kind of what it is.
Well, we got to back up a minute because he stepped on the whole military thing. You went right into this. I had something else to say too.
Yeah, I got
Oh,
something.
go ahead,
I
go
got to
ahead.
follow up on the
My,
military too. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you
Okay,
step
so I was
on
gonna
me?
say-
Yeah, okay. I
No,
just
go-
said I
no,
was just
yeah,
going to do.
go ahead.
Okay. You're
No,
crazy.
What,
you know.
what's worth? What's the higher honor? I know they're all important, but like there's the Bronze Star and then there's the Purple Heart. Obviously, the Congressional Medal of Honor is the highest honor you can get.
I think they're all for different things.
Okay.
I think you get them
Bronze
for
Star
doing
is
different
like
things.
way low on the totem pole.
Okay.
You can
Yeah.
get a Bronze Star for writing a paper. I think. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, I wrote a very solid paper my junior year of high school, and I got a Bronze Star.
But the Congressional Medal of Honor, that's you got to basically kill like a whole battalion of
Purple
the
Heart
enemy,
is
yeah,
you're
so.
awarded in combat, and there's
yeah.
some merit else involved in that, but I
Yeah.
don't. But my nephew just joined the Marines. He was
Good for him. Congrats.
deployed on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I'm sorry, what? Not deployed.
Basic
I'm sorry.
training.
He went
basic
to
training.
yes.
Camp Lejeune in North
No.
Carolina.
No, Camp Pendleton's where the Marines
Oh, that's
train.
right. That's
Okay,
right.
so the Bronze Star
San Diego.
Yeah.
is for heroic achievement, heroic service, meritorious achievement, or meritorious service in a combat zone. So it was kind of like became
Meritorious though in many different ways.
right. So, but that must have been what the Purple Heart was, because that sounds a lot like what the Purple Heart was before 1944, and then it became.
And
yeah.
what's
Well, you
the-
get wounded though. Purple Heart's awarded to you when you get wounded.
Purple Heart is now, but it wasn't in the beginning. It was in the beginning. It was just for meritorious service. It was
Purple
had
Heart?
nothing to do. It had nothing to do with getting injured.
No,
in
World War
1944. In 1940, listen.
Oh,
I looked it up.
44.
In
My grandfather got
1944
injured in 1943.
Yeah.
42.
Okay, but
43.
In 1944, it became an award. It officially became an award for people who were injured. The Medal of Honor.
Oh, okay. No, okay. Oh, yeah.
Is the Armed Forces' highest military decoration and is awarded to recognize American soldiers, everybody, even the Coast Guard, who have distinguished themselves by acts of valor. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And another thing, on a side note, I guess it's a felony, like, people who, like, impersonate people who've been in the military, or even if you are in the military, like, if you wear an award that you obviously didn't actually win and you get busted, that's like a felony. I think there was some guy walking around with, like, a Congressional Medal of Honor.
Well,
I think
sure,
there's only like a handful of them in, like, in the country, It's pretty rare. So, like, it's like if I came with the Congressional Medal of Honor, that would be pretty easy
For service for potatoes?
Exactly.
For making omelets.
Congressional Medal of Dishonor.
So, Teddy, no, you know what? We joke about this all the time, but what did you actually do? You were in the you were a cook, correct?
No, actually, I was in food services, which is
So you cleaned up?
I prepared food, and then I cleaned up after the food was prepared, and I had to make sure the people were fed.
So without you, everyone would have died.
No, they
Basically.
just would have just gone down the line and got it from somebody else, or at MRE. So-
No, but you were in the Navy during
I was in the Air
Air
Force.
Force.
Air Force
yeah.
during peacetime, right?
Well, no, I was actually in during the first Gulf War back in '92. So what happened was they didn't send me anywhere, but they sent a bunch of people from our base to Diego Garcia, which is an island in the Indian Ocean, as support, for whatever the B-52 bombers, and then they brought in a bunch of reservists, the weekend warriors, to be on our base. So like these guys are here, or these guys and girls are there for like 8 months. So that's really disruptive to them because I'm already active duty. But these people, they're just thinking, oh, I'm just going to do this one weekend a month, and now all of a sudden their life is put on hold because they forgot that what they signed up for. 'Cause they're just thinking, I'm just going to get the GI Bill money, and then it's like, oh well, now there's a war and we need you. So they actually were on our base. So it was pretty weird seeing like a whole influx of new people who. It was like a stranger in a strange land. Was that Judas Priest or something, or Iron Maiden?
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
But I know a guy that's in the National Guard right now, and he just got deployed. And when I don't know where he's at, but he's same thing. He's got a wife and a kid, and he just has to go like 1 weekend a month.
Yeah.
And when he got the letter, he couldn't tell his employer where he was going.
Yeah.
And they don't tell. It comes out of nowhere. They don't. You have no clue.
And your employer obviously can't do anything. I mean, it's like jury duty.
That wasn't the issue.
Yeah,
He just couldn't. He's like he got deployed. He couldn't tell anybody.
Sure.
He just gave him the notice where it said that he was not going to be
Where
around
he had to report. You had to
for
report
these
to,
dates.
yeah.
But he couldn't tell anybody where he was going.
Yeah.
At that point. Now I think maybe he could. He's not. He's gone now. But
Yeah. My sister just completed 2 weeks of training because she's Army National Guard, or she's in the Army Reserves, I should say. So she's a captain. She's been there for several years. She was active duty Navy back in the day. So she actually has to do the 2 weeks in the summer, of training. So she was like in a tent, literally in a field somewhere for 2 weeks. So that was pretty rough. So
I could not do that.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, I don't even want to be in a tent. Honestly, I don't want to be in a tent for 5 minutes.
No, that's real camping right there. I mean, that's in full dress, in full fatigue.
Your sister seemed pretty tough.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's
she
tough.
she
She's
seems
tough.
like a pretty tough chick.
Yeah, she's
I mean,
tougher
honestly.
than me. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's not cramping, right? It's not cramping. Remember that you know what cramping is?
No, what is that?
It's like high end, like camping.
Oh,
now.
glamping.
Oh, glamping.
Glamping.
Oh, I said cramping.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I'm
his sister
cramping
might
right
be
now.
cramping.
I'm
I don't
cramping.
know.
Oh, glamping. Yeah.
Yeah, glamping.
I said
Yeah.
cramping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. It was awesome.
And I think like 2 years ago, she was the same thing. She was deployed, and she was like in the middle of a field somewhere for like 2 weeks, and it was like, she even said it was like the most. I remember picking her up from the airport when it was over, and yeah, she looked pretty rough. She needed like a shower. And,
Oh, that's when it was cramping.
yeah. I mean, it was it was like hot and uncomfortable. I mean, and so picture like
Yep,
camping's
that'll
already
cause cramps.
it's already uncomfortable, and I'll just picture you're in full military uniform while you're doing that.
I mean, if you talk about
With a
like,
backpack and boots, and
like going multiple days without showering, I shower sometimes 2 times, 3 times a day.
I showered twice today.
Yeah, I just don't
I
have
just
it.
shower after the show.
We're fucking
To wash
spoiled
off the
Americans.
We are. I mean, listen,
Disgusting, dude.
I would last 0. I mean, if there was some sort of time travel, and worst books of all time, and they sent you someplace, like I went to some like weird world, or I went back in time or something
well, if
to
you're-
like
if-
whatever, I would be
Well,
dead
if you're
in
like a pioneer,
3 weeks.
If you're like a pioneer, your whole life was camping because you just lived on the open plain. It took you like 6 months to get from like Illinois to like
Yeah.
Arizona or something, or California if you even made it. So.
But you know what? I do know a few skills from Jason. So I mean, I guess I could fall back on some of that stuff. I do. I mean, I kind of remember that.
yeah.
I mean, so we do have. I don't know if I could do any of it, but I know the
I
order.
still have his book.
Yeah.
You can look it up.
Yeah, I mean, I have the order of what I'm supposed to do.
You just need Wi-Fi to look it up. If you need it.
It's so dark. I can't read this book. Does this say kill everyone here and eat them?
So you want to hear a funny story that happened to me on Monday?
No.
A buddy of mine, PJ, you guys know we golfed with him.
Oh yeah.
He's in Ireland right now with his family, and he shares season tickets to the Cubs. So he texted me on Monday morning sometime, and he said, he's like, "Hey, do you want to go to the Cubs game night? You can have my tickets. Let me know." So I said, "Well, let me figure this out." So I asked my wife and my son and his girlfriend, and everyone was like, "Yeah, let's go." I'm like, "All right, let's go." So he sends me the tickets. I download them, put them in the app. We drive down to Wrigley that afternoon, evening. It's a night game, 7 o'clock game. We get there.
I know what you're gonna say.
I walk up there, scan the ticket. It's rejecting it. It's rejecting it. And Lyle looks at the phone. He's like, "Dude, these are for tomorrow." So it's Monday night's game, but they're also playing Tuesday night.
So you went down there?
So I texted him. I said, "Hey, did you mean to send me tickets to tonight's game, or do you have tickets for tomorrow's night's game too?" Because he shares. He only gets like 15 games a year between like 3 or 4 guys. And he looks back at the text. We're texting because he's in Ireland. And he says, "Oh, shit, I meant to say tonight, and I just wrote night." And I just assumed he meant tonight too, right?
Right.
So he's like, "No, I just have him for, Tuesday night." So I'm like, "All right, no big deal." So I walked over to the window and just bought tickets, and we went in.
Oh, so you went Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, so then I had 4 tickets for last night's game. So Kelly met me down at Wrigley, and we went. So I spent the last 2 nights at Wrigley, and it was beautiful nights.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. It was fucking great.
Yeah. Did they win?
They got shut out Monday, but yesterday they won. They won last night 6-7 to 4, 7 to 3.
Oh, okay.
It's a good game.
So there's and I mean, for everybody who's doesn't know, the White Sox won yesterday.
That is
First time in 22 games.
Seriously,
They
they haven't
in the
won
last
since
22. They're
July
1 and
11th.
21.
July 7th was the last time they won.
Yeah, 1 and 21, and then they went right out. It's so funny. They went right out and lost again today.
Yeah.
So the streak is over, but I'm going to guess that there's got to be
Still
some
a streak though.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
now 23-1, right?
No,
1
1
and
and
I'm
22.
sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
They've only won.
Yeah,
one out of the last
there's gotta
23.
I just feel bad for the team they lost to.
That's what I said.
exactly.
That's
Those
what
poor
I said.
guys.
I mean, you lose, right? And then they lost to the Oakland A's, and the coach, I'm sure they talk after every game, even though
Oakland
it's
beat
100.
them. Oakland's one team they beat, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they beat him last night, and I'm sure the coach would be like, you know what, somebody's getting let go. We can't be the team. not do anything. I can't yell at you. There's nothing I can say to you right now. You are at the lowest point of your life. There's nothing lower you will ever do.
That's not the speech.
Some of you will be convicted murderers and rapists.
That's not.
And you know what?
No way.
The lowest day that you will suffer today is today, right now. And then let's go out and beat them tomorrow. And yeah, they
That's
beat
not
us.
that the speech I think he was giving is every coach after they lost like 12, 13 in a row. Every coach is saying, "Listen, guys, they're not gonna not win another game. So they could beat us, but they ain't gonna beat us the next night."
So the Oakland coach he walked up to him and said, "You guys aren't pieces of shit, useless pieces of shit
Oh,
who
before
just
they
lost to a
lost? No,
team
after
who
they
lost 21 in a row."
After they lost, maybe, but before they lost, you have to set it up like you have to tell them like, "Listen, no, you know, maybe you go the opposite way because you don't want to take it too lightly."
Right.
So you want to say, guys, they're going to fucking beat somebody. They're going to win another game.
It better not fucking
So
be
better-
us.
Yeah, that's
and it
what.
better not be you pricks.
Yeah, you know what you're
Don't.
saying.
It just better not be a letdown.
No, if you're the coach, you say this. You're like, you know what? The guys on the other side, even though they've lost 23 games, even though they're the worst play team in baseball, they're still professional baseball players.
Then you try not to laugh.
As far as we know, as far as we know, let's give them the respect they think they deserve. All right.
Right.
Were they only playing with 7 players? Is that true?
Who?
The Sox?
You know what? If I cared anymore, I mean, this is just the low point of my entire existence. But if I cared anymore, I would be upset that you said that.
Were they really batting out of order on purpose just to get the game over with?
Batting out of order. That would be the low point. Listen, I know the Sox they're going to probably be the worst team in the history of baseball, and
If
I'm talking
that
about
happens,
like
what if-
predating
They're not
1900.
even getting a draft pick, right? Because
they're kind of fucked because you can't. Major League Baseball is a new thing. You can't be in the top 10 like multiple years in a row. So they've already been in 2 years in a row. So this year, even if they're the worst team in the league, they'll pick 10th or 11th because they won't be in the lottery. There's kind of like a lottery thing now. They won't even be in it because Major League Baseball says if you're shitty for like an extended period of time, you can't keep getting first round draft picks. Yeah. So I mean,
well, here's what you do: you just go to the Dominican Republic and Japan and just stock your roster with all those guys.
Hey,
Problem solved.
Mark Grace was picked in the 24th round.
yeah. I mean, it is whatever. I'm kind of I'm
24th
losing
round.
interest. I'm losing interest in baseball altogether.
I'm
isn't
back,
helping.
baby. I'm back.
Yeah. I mean, I'll watch like MLB Network and like watch like the collection when they put on like 4 games at once. But I can't.
Well,
watch
football
the Sox
season's
anymore.
coming soon anyway, so who cares, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hard Knocks started with the Chicago Bears on HBO.
It was good.
I haven't seen it yet.
It
I'll
was
watch
good.
it tonight.
There's a little too much Simone Biles and her loser husband.
Yeah, the Jonathan Owens guy.
He's not gonna, he's third on the depth chart.
I know. He's nothing. It was a little too much
Well,
of
actually,
that.
technically, he's second on the depth chart, but after he spent 2 weeks in France,
Yeah.
he's not second on the depth chart anymore.
No.
There's no way.
I mean, are you guys still watching the Olympics? Is this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are
Not-
you
not-
really?
not really.
Baseball
No,
just
I
started.
don't watch it.
Right? Didn't
I don't
baseball
watch
just start? No.
I just watch the highlights the next day on YouTube.
There's not baseball in the Olympics.
Isn't there baseball? I
No, just
haven't
golf.
seen any baseball,
There's golf.
but wasn't it supposed to be in the Olympics?
No, it's just basketball. No baseball.
I mean, just 4-on-4 basketball.
Team USA.
But I don't understand why you're so bent out of shape. Yeah, everybody sent us stuff that said Mark got it wrong. It's 3-on-3, but 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 2-on-2. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, fuck you,
Why-
fuck
why
you,
is there-
and fuck you.
Yeah.
Next.
Why is there even 3-on-3
It's so
basketball?
st-
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean, Olympic basketball is stupid to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause they
you get the
already
best
have-
players. You know, like Scotty Scheffler won the gold medal in golf. He's already the number 1 ranked player in the world. So it's not like I said. It's supposed to be an amateur sport. That's what the Olympics is. It's
No,
an amateur
not anymore,
sport.
man.
There's no amateurs.
It's never been an amateur sport outside of the United States. Every country used all the professional players. Every country did. Hockey.
No, hockey. There's. I mean,
the USSR used all their pro players.
yeah,
when the US
when the US beat the Russians back in.
yeah, but they
whatever,
were closed societies. So I mean, it's not like. I mean,
Well, I mean, but what I'm saying is they weren't using 18, 17, 19-year-old kids. They were grown men.
yeah.
All these teams. They
Yeah.
were. In
No, I get it. I mean, the Olympics made sense when we didn't have TV.
in the 17. They made sense when the Greeks invented it back in
Wait, don't-
50
Well, don't
AD.
bash the
Yeah,
Olympics.
No.
It's the swimming and all the stuff they're broadcasting is really awesome.
No, it's cool.
The gymnastics.
I'm done with gymnastics.
The track
I
and
can't
field's
watch it.
great.
Actually,
I love
actually,
it.
a U.S. man, a 135-pound man, he was the first U.S. man to win a medal in Olympic weightlifting in the last 41 years. He was 135, whatever the 135-pound division. He lifted a combined like 700 pounds between the clean and jerk and the snatch.
Okay.
So yeah, and I guess he's like a 20-year-old kid who trains in his garage. So that's pretty cool. So that's a good.
And
story.
the men's team lost a medley for the first time in ever. U.S. We've never not won the gold.
Running?
No, the swimming.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention. But there are some things I thought were kind of weird. The U.S. men's beach volleyball team, halfway through the Olympics, they fired their coach.
I heard about that.
Yeah, what do you got to do to get fired halfway through? I mean, for beach volleyball, it's the biggest thing. I mean, nobody else really gives a shit about beach volleyball outside of the Olympics.
Well, the
right?
U.S. men's team, the regular team that plays indoors, I guess they lost to Poland, and they said that was like a big upset. Like the men's U.S. team that was supposed to win, was definitely supposed to medal, lost to Poland in whatever.
Is losing to Poland is that like a slap in the face to everybody for any sport? I don't know.
Watch it.
Oh, you guys saw this. There was a woman, a young lady, I think she's 19, 20. She's on the Paraguayan swim team. So she lost her race, and she didn't advance to any finals
I
or
honestly
anything.
thought you were going to say she lost her suit.
No. She lost her race, and then she retired. She's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't remember how old she is. She's done. And then she went a little wild. You probably saw the story, right? She went a little wild.
I heard a woman got sent home for inappropriate behavior,
Yeah.
but I didn't read any details.
So I guess the deal is she just decided, I'm not going to train anymore and everything. And she didn't really go wild. She just didn't do anything that everybody else was doing because they were still training because basically was finished. Yeah. And the coach is like, you're setting kind of a bad example. Yeah, she didn't go. They make the story out to be like she ran wild and went whoring and no. She was just like, yeah, I'm not fucking doing that anymore. Yeah. And the coach was like, you can't listen if you're not going to do stuff and participate, in that, and you're just going to fuck off.
There's no reason to be here.
There's no reason to be here, so go home. Yeah.
And now she's suing.
But they made it sound like, because she's very pretty, right? And she's in her swimsuit, and they made it sound like she was out whoring and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
But she's suing the Olympics. She's suing now.
She's suing the Olympics?
She's suing somebody, I think.
Of course she is. Why not?
Isn't that her? She got sent home and now she's suing?
Sure. Why not? Sue everybody.
Oh, on a side note, I guess Snoop Dogg
Is suing people.
Snoop Dogg, who's like, seems to be the feature attraction at the Olympics. I guess supposedly he's making $500,000 a day
Yeah,
at
but
the Olympics.
that's just on Instagram. You don't know if that's true.
Right.
I don't know.
But okay, but
I
so what
believe
if he
Instagram.
But you know what? So what if he is?
Yeah.
If they want him to be the face,
Well,
and
he's making money, but I don't know. Nobody knows how much they're paying.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
But I mean, if he is, why does anybody care what somebody else is getting paid?
He's great. I watch him. He's great.
He's kind of funny.
He was on there with Martha Stewart. They were at the
tripping. she be tripping, man. Yeah, but no, it's just really weird. Oh, and here's another thing. People are saying bad things about Simone Biles.
I heard about that. I don't know what those things were.
I
But,
try not to. I try not to pay.
I think
attention.
I think she was like bullying somebody or said some mean.
She said some mean
tweets
things
about somebody else. And
No.
and as a result,
One of the girls, one of the women on the former team. Here's what I don't understand. If you were an Olympian and now somebody in you're announcing the sport or you're even talking about it in any way, why are you shitbagging the people who are in the Olympics? Would you have wanted? Let's go back in Olympics. So one of the women who was on the gymnastics team is kind of shitbagging Simone Biles. But whatever the deal is, just ask yourself, if you were doing that, if you were on that team, would you want a previous Olympic person shitbagging you?
No.
I wouldn't.
There's enough pressure there already.
Simone Biles is absolutely incredible. You've never. I mean, that what she did 3 nights ago is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think she's already won like 3 gold medals.
But there's nobody. I mean, there's no comparison. What she's doing, she looks completely different than every other athlete out there. It's unreal, dude.
Yeah. She's only like 4'8".
Dude, she flipped. I mean, she goes so high in the air, and it's unreal.
Yeah. No.
Where's breaking at? I haven't seen any breakdancing.
It must be coming up.
See, that's why I thought baseball was coming up, but I guess it's not in the Olympics.
I don't think so.
No, I know you're right. It's not in the Olympics, but we were talking about the other night because there are some sports that I haven't heard nothing about breaking.
How long does the Olympics run for? How much longer does it last?
It's about another week or so.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys heard about the pole vaulter?
Yeah, the guy with the big package supposedly that hit the pole. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
So
the French guy.
Allegedly, his dick knocked the crossbar down.
Yeah.
And a porn company, and I didn't get the name of it. They offered him a job. They said they offered him $250,000 to make a porn. And he goes, and you know what they said? One of the things they said, you don't have to wear those stupid tight shorts. He goes, you can just let your shit run free.
funny.
Is that awesome? I mean, how many athletes, how many Olympic athletes, before it's even over, get a job offer from a porn company?
Well, that guy did.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, Teddy, we got to get to your tip, man.
Yeah.
I mean, probably I wonder how many people listen.
Not a
just,
tip, right?
Oh no, it's not a tip. It's a tall tale today.
Oh yeah, the tall tale.
I wonder how many people listen right up until that and then just turned it off.
It's possible.
You know what? I'd be interested to know that. Okay, let's see, Teddy. Oh, here it is. Ted, I need a tall tale and I need a solid one.
I don't get to do a song, huh?
Oh yeah, you had a song. I'm sorry. Oh my God,
This is
my
so
bad.
weird, man.
My bad.
Did you get concussed again?
It's like he forgot you even
No.
existed.
I didn't forget you existed,
no,
Ted.
don't. We could just go.
No. Sing your dude. Do your song, please. I
Now
apologize.
he's going to withhold.
I apologize. We're so late with this that I rushed.
He's
through
going to
it.
withhold goods and services now to punish you.
What? You know what? Listen, sing the song.
Now it's not going to be good.
No,
Because it's
sing
all
the song.
fucked up.
I'll shitbag the song. You sue me. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Mark, sing away, please.
Ted fibs then falls on his head. And just like the man who needs a decent lie, so Teddy's gonna try, but he keeps on falling on his head. So Matt did some talking to his son, and I said I didn't like the way Ted gets things done. Sleeping on the show, those fibs are never gonna fly, but Ted will try to lie. All right.
Oh man,
Little B.J. Thomas there.
raindrops
keep falling on my head.
All right.
I may or may not have done that song before. I don't know.
You have not.
All right.
All right. WLZY 94.2, BJ Thomas. You know, the other day, I had some raindrops fall on my head. Yeah, it was a great day. I just
Yep.
looked up in the sky and thought about
Was
it.
that a golden shower? Or they sure
And
drops?
now here's a list from Kim Carnes. All right, there we go. Ted, I need a tall tale and I need a solid one. I work in Austin, Texas for a mid-sized tech company. My girlfriend of 4 years lives here, and I have a great group of friends. My company is opening another office in Philadelphia. Ugh. I really messed up by going above and beyond the last 2 years, right? He did the thing you always talk about, Ted.
Don't go above and beyond.
Don't go above and beyond. And I am one of the 3 people who could be transferred to Philadelphia. This is kind of serious here. I may quit if I'm forced to move. What can I say to make sure I keep my job but won't get transferred? I'm desperate. Neil, 31, Austin, Texas.
All right, that's I have a few plausible or unplausible scenarios I might be able to use that could help you. Of course, they could all backfire spectacularly and lead to your immediate termination.
I like.
If not pressing charges.
I like how you're brake checking right there, just to make sure.
yeah.
It would be great if I get a call from Neil. It's like, I tried that. Do you tell Ted I fucking tried that? And when I burned down the building, yeah, they caught me.
Okay.
All right.
It's kind of a tough one, so I'm gonna give a few scenarios, and then you could decide which one might work best for you. So basically, like I said, you want to stay in Austin, Texas. You don't want to go to Philly, but you're on the short list to possibly go to Philly because you're an outstanding performer and you're the rock star, and they might need you in the Philly office. So we need to what do you call it? Short circuit that your trajectory, your career trajectory at that company. So here's
but he's got to keep his job, Teddy.
Yeah.
You can't.
So here's the first thing you could do. I mean, this is a little bit risky. So I'm assuming you're going to be in that Austin, Texas office for a while before this potential. Well, number one, we don't really don't know if he's getting transferred, but let's assume he thinks he's getting transferred. So let's just say the company entrusts you with a very important project. This is where you need to bring out weaponized incompetence and screw it up, not to the point where you're going to get fired, and not even to the point where you're going to be put on a performance improvement plan, but just to the point where we can't trust Neil right now. We can't really trust him with our most important stuff. So therefore, we need to keep him in the Austin office for some.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, keep an eye on him. For some guidance, maybe some retraining. So that's you could do that. That's number one. Or, with these deep fakes, you could do this. You could go to your boss. You could say, I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I'm actually working with the government, the local government. I'm part of a government investigation for something local that I can't discuss, but I have to remain in the area for an indeterminate amount of time, and then you can give them a letter like on a DOJ letterhead or something like that. And then and there's a number to call. Obviously, one of your friends is going to be the contact.
Hold on, Neil, this would work best if you thought your boss was a complete and total fucking idiot. Okay, the second one would only work.
I like it though.
Yeah, you know what? That would be. I'll tell you what. Could you even disprove that?
You could. So there's a number to call. Let's just say, okay, my name is Agent Tom White with the Austin division.
That's where you got it wrong. Don't give out a number.
Yeah, but I'm saying, just to make it plausible, so let's just say he calls a number. You're going to have your friend, in a very professional way, just say, yes, Mr. White's office.
But he could look up
Agent
the number.
White.
Agent White. It turns out to be a burner phone.
Yeah, I was just going to
A
say.
Samsung burner phone. Okay, not a good
The
idea.
number you
not a good
gave
idea,
was a cell phone number.
a 1-900 number to a
Cricket
Thai,
Mobile.
to
Cricket
a,
Mobile.
to a Thai massage parlor.
Mint Mobile is Mint Mobile.
The Cricket Mobile customer that you called is not.
Has been disconnected. Okay, maybe
That
that's,
seems a little stretchy, Ted.
right.
But
Okay,
no,
gotta be
I
honest, yeah.
like it except for the phone call.
Yeah, we'll just have to
All right,
figure
go on.
something
So
out
what?
where
So
it can't be
wait,
verifiable.
do you think if they gave him that without a number,
Dude,
just a
think
name,
about it. You got to think about it.
just a name,
Just
say,
put yourself in that employer's position if somebody did
But
that to
wouldn't
you.
you check on that?
How?
It's,
Who do
it's
you
supposed
call?
to be secret. It's supposed to be secret.
I mean, that's why I like it. I love it.
That seems
You can't something you can't verify. Something you can't verify. So maybe well, you would just tell him. You would just tell him that. Just say, you know what, just between you and me, I can't really discuss it, but I'm working with the government.
Yeah, you're
We got some
repeating yourself.
project-
You said
no,
already.
But,
super secret.
But instead,
Listen,
and
you know how Jeffrey Epstein was working in service of our government. I'm doing almost the same thing, but all the girls are over 16. I can't tell you any more than that. No more.
so the difference is if your employer asks for proof, just say, well, obviously it's within secret. So, but I'll try to get you something. So that's when you might have to go that extra step where you have to have a deepfake, but without any contact information. You have to, if you could somehow get something official looking like it came from the government, on a DOJ letterhead or
Yeah,
something like
you
that, or a
could get that
local,
offline.
yeah, ATF.
Like
yeah.
roll a tank
Might
up.
I add? Might I add this to the end of that sentence?
Yes, you
Ted?
may.
If I could prove it, I'd have to kill you.
Yeah. He goes,
What the fuck?
If I proved it to you, you would no longer be sitting
and
here.
he goes, how do I know he goes, how can you prove you're telling the truth? He goes, well, how can you disprove I'm not?
I could prove it to you, but I have to kill you.
So you say to your boss, your wife, your kids,
Now they're
do
afraid.
they
now
like you
they're-
around? Yeah.
Now they're afraid to send them to
Or
Philly.
just have your boss's house swatted, just as a little warning shot over the
Okay.
bow.
Do you have a third
Okay,
option?
yeah. So,
Oh my God.
Third option is okay. This is more plausible. Just say I have a sick relative in town. Could be a mother. Could be a close family member. Just say, obviously I'm helping support them financially. I didn't want to talk about it, but they need to have me there physically. I want to be there for them, in person. Since their time on this earth may be imminent, and obviously that imminency is going to stretch out for a period of years.
Well, no. Right after everything's fine. Right after they pick
after the
somebody
transfer.
to
Right
go
after
to-
the transfer. Yeah.
You're sending Betty.
Yeah.
You know what? Grandma just died. Yeah, about 13 seconds ago. That's right. Yeah.
The cancer is now in remission. Thank you.
That one actually makes
that
that
one
one actually makes more
But
sense.
you know how that could backfire? He's got a really big-hearted boss. We're going to have a company-wide fundraiser for,
Oh my God.
for her. And we are going to raise the money for her care so that you can go to Philadelphia.
Thank you so much. But we already did a GoFundMe for her, so thank you.
No,
so
Ted.
much.
We are a big corporation. We're 501c
We're family.
We have
We're family.
we have deep pockets in our clients, and they're very sensitive about this thing.
We're going to send you and your sick relative to Philadelphia.
Oh man, I didn't.
Ted, we're going to ship your whole family there. We got an island off the coast, off of New York,
Just
small island, Staten Island.
Yeah, well,
There's a
you know,
hospital
It's
there.
called,
gonna
it's called
say-
Rikers Island.
We did Riker, that's what I mean. That's what I was
That would be
looking
perfect. Well, you know what? This is Neil. This is perfect because you'll be living right across the street from a hospital. We've
Yeah.
got you a place. Yeah.
There's
and by the way,
a giant lady living on the island. I think it's called Liberty Island. But you're going to be living right next to her, right next to her big shoes.
yeah, and it'll be
She's
perfect.
barefoot. She's barefoot, isn't she?
Oh my God.
Last option, obviously, this is the Hill.
Poison.
This is the Hill.
It's gotta be poison.
No, the Hill Mary is. Remember the movie Fight Club where Ed Norton goes to his boss and says, "I want to work from home,"
Yeah.
and the boss refuses, so he just beats the shit out of himself in front of his boss, and then he staggers out of the office and he goes, and then the boss just gives him the laptop, lets him work from home. So basically, you're gonna kick your own ass, and then blame your boss, and then just say, "But you know what? I won't press charges if I could either work from home or just work, stay in the area." Thank you, boss.
And
Okay,
he
you know
says,
what?
Good luck with that. Everyone's seen Fight Club, fucko. So go ahead and beat yourself up.
I mean, but how would you
And then-
disprove that?
And then here's the ticket.
How would I mean, oh man, no, I do. Ted, actually, I like one of your ideas.
Well, that's why I gave like multiple choices. I gave multiple choices,
the,
multiple
the
scenarios.
the grandma thing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I like that. You know,
I'm helping run a reverse sting in the
All
area.
right.
Can't talk about it. Okay.
all right, Neil. I hope one of these would work because honestly, if I had a choice between Austin, Texas, and Philadelphia, I would use a gun. I would just blow my fucking brains out.
Or there'd be some good Philly cheesesteak. And, worst case scenario, what if it
You can
turns out
Philly cheesesteak anywhere.
What
It's just some fucking meat.
What if it turns out his girlfriend's been cheating on him and his friends are all talking about him behind his back and he just needs to get new friends? So maybe he wants to go to Philly in the
No,
end
now
of the day.
you're
I don't know.
assuming he
I don't know.
made it very clear that he has deep ties, friendship-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think honesty is the best policy. I think you should just say, listen, man, if you guys send me to Philly, I'm fucking quitting. So either you want me on the team here or I'm gone. Either way, I'm gone, but I'm not going to Philly.
Doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of Ted's Tall Tales, though?
Well, you know what I'm thinking.
It does. No,
Here's
that's why I
what-
said honesty is the best policy.
But here's what I'm thinking: if he
It
had
defeats
that
you
option,
completely. You're right. That's
no,
funny.
no. But if he had
Ted
that
would have never
option,
caught that if he was drinking Crown.
Yeah, that's true. Sober Ted is
He would have
much more
sharp,
insightful.
Sharpie.
Well, we don't know what's in that cup, but
No, we don't.
but I mean, I feel like if he's asking for help, then the obvious I really don't want to do this is probably not an option.
Yeah, I
that's
know,
why
I know.
Yeah, I mean, because that's usually career suicide when the boss says, hey, we need to have you here. And, when you say no, that's usually a career ender, at least with that company and possibly for future similar companies because, obviously he's going to get a bad, referral possibly.
Right.
So, yeah,
so that's what
can't
I was
say that.
wondering.
Can't
You know
say
what? I mean, if he just straight up quits, I mean, he's almost got to get them to not let him go, but not in such a shitty way because.
Or no, the best thing to do, don't ever quit your job. This is a little separate side tip. Try to get laid off. Try to leave with a severance package because then you're still entitled to unemployment, and you get the severance package. So if you could somehow finagle that, yeah, but never quit your job.
Actually, I don't.
Never quit your
Can
job.
you get unemployment if they give you severance? I think it's one or the other.
Well, I think if they lay you off,
Yeah, but-
you might be entitled to unemployment. But either way, you get a severance package. If you get a severance package, which is good, and usually a severance package is I think 1 to 3 weeks worth of salary for every year you've been at the company is a reasonable severance package.
I know somebody that just got furloughed from their job of 24 years out of nowhere.
Yeah, furlough just means they're just not paying you.
They just laid her off.
Yeah, well, no, furlough means you still have the job.
I'm sorry,
but
no, they laid her off.
they laid her off. Okay, yeah,
It was. I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah. The term she used was laid off. 24 years out of nowhere.
yeah. They can do that.
Laid off.
You mean like one day you going to work, everything's cool, the next day you're like, yeah.
But that's actually common.
Today's your last day.
Usually,
Like 10 people in the department, and then
yeah, well, they never tell you. I mean, yeah, trust me. The last
But
thing
how do you
management
not
wants
see
to
that
do-
coming?
Sometimes
well,
management
they
is
made
pretty,
it through. It's actually I'll disclose the company. It's Lori's Lori's.
What's that?
The children's hospital. Lori's the hospital.
Lurie's.
Lori's.
Oh,
Say
okay.
Lori's.
Yeah,
Lori's. Yeah. So they've been making major changes the last like 3 years, and
Just getting rid of people?
I don't know what they're doing exactly. Yeah, I mean they're cutting back. Yeah, and
Because you don't need doctors and nurses.
no,
and
it
people
wasn't.
who
No,
run
no,
the-
no. This is more administrative.
Administrative,
This isn't doctors and nurses. They're safe as all.
Yeah, well, that goes back to my other thesis. Like, if you've been at a company for say decades and you're one of the higher paid people there, you're probably going to be first on the chopping block when some newbie who just graduated, some new MBA and NBA candidate who just graduated takes over and is like 3 levels above you, and they look at like, Jane Doe here has been here 24 years, and she's one of the highest paid admin people. We could hire 2 Jane Does at half her age, even though they can't say that legally, of course, because that would
Right.
be age discrimination.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, unfortunately,
So you close the position and then
yeah,
6
you
months,
just
8
you
months,
just
a year later,
eliminate the position.
You don't call it administrative assistant. You call an assistant who helps with administration.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what a lot of companies. Yeah.
All right, so here, not to change the subject, but just to change the subject, is there anything that a person could do that would preclude them from being president of the United States?
Like disqualify them?
Yeah, and by the way, they're not in prison, right?
You're 30. You're 33 years old.
Okay.
You're foreign born.
You weren't born here.
If you're 35 years old and you were born in America, is there something you could do that would just say this person should not be president of the United States?
Like legally?
Yeah, like anything. Anything.
I don't know.
What do you
I'm
think?
sure there's
what,
something.
what are some things that you would say, like, I couldn't let this guy or this girl be president of the United States?
Murder, child porn. On
Oh, this is a
computer.
personal
Yeah.
thing. A
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah, just whatever. So Teddy's like murder and child porn.
Yeah.
Anybody who did that should never be.
Gold bars in your closet from a foreign national from Egypt.
Man, he's fucked. He's Melendez. He's fucked.
On a side note, he just looks like the kind of guy that would take a bribe, right? I mean, he just looks like the kind of guy.
So
that would
you
take a
realize
bribe.
that most of his defense was blaming his wife. Whatever happens to her, and I know she's. I mean, I think she's sick. She's got cancer or something, but she's going to be.
She's equally
going to be
screwed.
tried.
She's
also.
equally as screwed.
Right.
Yeah, she's
but when whatever happens, they're done. That marriage is dissolved.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because
well,
he spent all the
it's
time.
like Christie. Remember that the Christie show? Everyone Loves Christie or something. The guy, he was like a rich guy from Georgia with his wife, and he just got convicted of like bank fraud.
Yeah, him and his wife.
Yeah, so like he's serving 12 years, she's serving 8. Yeah, so I mean,
okay, but what could a person do? So Teddy's got child porn and murder. Mark, what would
There's
preclude?
already 2 guys running that.
Oh, I mean,
just
one's
check off
just a
every
convicted. One's just a convicted felon. Yeah, that's all. Okay, so you guys, I sent you guys that RFK Jr. thing. He admitted last week to dumping a dead bear cub in Central Park.
where did he get it?
I sent that to you.
Yeah,
Where did he get it?
so he found it. Right?
found-
So you didn't read the story?
No, I just want to find out for the first time because I'm so
No,
in
Mark
wonderment.
sent that to us.
Yeah, but I just want to hear it from you guys. Like,
Funnier one was the Instagram with
Which one?
the Instagram like that precluded that, where it was a stage thing that he did for Trump.
What? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, Smigel put that together. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So allegedly in 2014, RFK, and this is, by the way, after he was supposed to be sober. I think he was stone cold sober from like 2010 on. Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
So
he's raw dogging it. He's raw dogging it.
So he finds
He definitely wasn't.
he finds, and I don't know where in New York, because New York is very rural.
He was in upstate New York.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's very
okay.
rural outside of.
I'm thinking
New
he's in
York.
Central Park or something.
No.
All right, yeah. Yeah.
So he finds a dead bear cub. Okay. And he decides that he takes it, he puts it in his car, and he decides he wants to make a joke out of this thing. That's what he says. Okay. This is all what he says, right?
No. It started off So he was okay. This gets better. He had a long day falconing.
Oh, right. Yes.
He was falconing. And on the way home from falconing, he saw the dead bear on the side of the road. When he pulled over, and he's like, "Holy shit, this thing's in great shape. Like it just died. I'm gonna take this home. I'm gonna skin it." Save the skin, and I'm going to eat the meat. So I'm going to eat this thing. And I'm going to skin it. I'll have the bear, and then, but first I got to go to this dinner.
Right. So
he goes to this. He drives all the way down to downtown New York, to have dinner at this famous. I forgot the name of it. Some famous steakhouse in New York
with a dead bear.
Meanwhile, the dead bear's still in his fucking car. So dinner runs really late. And he's like, oh, shit, I got to go to the airport. I got to catch a plane. So he gets in the car, and he's like, oh, fuck, I got this dead bear in my car still.
You forget.
I got to do something with this dead bear.
Oh, so that's why he dumps it.
So then he goes back inside and confides in his friends, and they're like, dude, why don't you dump it in Central Park? And then he's like, I got a better idea. Why don't we dump it in Central Park, and we'll take this bike that I happen to have in my car and put it next to the bear, because there's been a lot of bike wrecks in Central Park. Bicyclist accidents. We'll make it look like a bicyclist ran over the bear. So there's a bike and a dead bear in Central Park.
He's staging a crime scene.
He actually did it. It was on the news and everything.
It was on the news.
Yeah.
But it happened, but we don't know if he actually did it. He's saying he did.
He's saying he did. But now here's the weird thing. He had a dead bear and a bike in his car.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Here's what I'm thinking. What else?
And he was sober.
Allegedly sober.
Yeah.
Allegedly stone cold sober. Well, what else did he have in that car? Like what is
Roseanne
he driving
Barr was
around
in the
with?
car too, because that's where this whole story came out. She's the one that blew the whistle on him. He told Roseanne Barr the story right after it happened, and she told the story again, and it was coming out to the public because people were catching wind of it. So people were reaching out to him. So instead of him being called out through the grapevine, he came out and fucking admitted it all.
So wait, he had a dead bear, a bike, and a psychotic racist in his car. I mean, that sounds like the start of a joke. All right, there's a guy. He's driving.
It was either Roseanne Barr or Bill Barr. I get the two mixed up.
Probably
They look the
Roseanne
same.
Barr.
They look exactly the same. Yeah, and Bill Barr. Here's
Two
how I
big
know it
white
was
people.
Roseanne. Here's how I know it was Roseanne Barr, because Bill Barr does not take Ambien.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that, dude, is that crazy?
But the Smigel thing is funny as hell because he acts like he's Donald Trump calling RFK to come up with some crazy story to make him look normal. Like, it's been a bad week. I need you to do something really stupid to take the heat off of me. Here's an idea. You were driving home from falconry, and you found this bear, and he just goes on. He goes, no, wait, that's not good enough. That's not crazy enough. And he goes on and on. So it's like it's a replay of Trump putting him up to tell him this story to take the heat off of Trump.
Dude.
So is this is the RFK version of Chappaquiddick?
Yeah,
because that's what derailed, I think, Ted Kennedy Jr. Because that was the famous story where he's driving this secretary home. I'm sure he's having an affair with her, and then of course he's drunk and he flips the car over in whatever the creek near his estate, and being the stand-up guy that is, he saves his own sorry ass by getting out of the car, but doesn't bother trying to rescue her.
Those
and that obviously torpedoed his. But it's funny, he still served as a senator until he passed away. But obviously it torpedoed his chances of running for president. Obviously, so
yeah, that's all. I mean,
being a senator, anyone can be a senator. Fuck that. I mean, that's a low bar.
Remember what's his name? Matthews.
Kevin Matthews.
Kevin Matthews. Remember his Ted Kennedy impression?
No.
He used to have a glass of ice cubes and he would rattle and go, "Freshen this up." Freshen this up.
That is so wrong.
That was his Ted Kennedy.
Like a robot.
I'm sorry. We have a little thing we have to do here. We at the Real 3 Idiots podcast are proud to be the first to promote the newest book from JD Vance. After getting to know JD a little bit more, this was a no-brainer. JD Vance and the Real 3 Idiots are proud to announce his newest book, JD's Joke Book. We've all heard his hilarious speeches and interviews, and we know how he has a fantastic sense of humor. It includes some of JD's favorite jokes. You ready? Why did the chicken cross the road? Because Trump told it to. This guy's awesome. How many childless cat ladies does it take to put in a light bulb? One. I mean, it's.
She's a spinster, right? She's a little.
The reviews are in. Private Islands magazine called it "Words on a Page," and Portable Restroom Operator magazine said they wouldn't take a dump without it. JD's Joke Book will give you years of enjoyment and will make you the life of any party. JD's Joke Book is available at finer bait shops and adult bookstores.
So let me ask you this: is JD Vance the new Sarah Palin?
Yeah.
Is that a coloring book too?
You know
come with
what?
crayons?
Hold on a second.
JD does that mean just do it, Vance?
Oh no. It says JD colored all the pictures himself. So
I don't know
there's
what
nothing
JD
you can.
stands for.
Yeah. James Donald or something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's just
JD.
It's just JD, man. Yeah, pretty cool, right?
You ever know a guy who went by had initials for his name? Like you call him, hey, BJ, TJ.
I know a lot.
That'd be pretty weird. Like,
I've had.
But that'd be weird having a friend named BJ.
JT.
Hey, BJ.
I know 3 PJs.
PJ?
Yeah.
I know
yeah.
2 TJs.
Yeah. One of my the kids I grew up with was PJ, and then
What's
I knew
PJ? What's
I knew
PJ short for normally?
It was Patrick something.
Patrick James.
You asked PJ that question the other day.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's Irish. You know what does PJ stand for anyway?
Pajamas.
On the golf course, he asked him.
Did you,
Me?
Ted?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yes, you
Who
did.
did I ask?
PJ.
What the fuck?
I thought it was BJ. That's
No, we're golfing with him. You go,
What does he have, a bear? It's not BJ. What the Teddy, I don't understand you sometimes. All right, Mark, are you ready for your movie mention?
Yes, but it's different this week.
That's fine. Let's see. It's time for what Vanity Fair called a person who talks about movies, and the New York Times said was a few minutes of something that happened. It's Mark's movie mentions.
All right, so the movie I want to mention is not a movie at all. It's actually a documentary, and I'm going to play a spoiler here because I always like to do my movie mentions without much info about the actual movie. So I asked not to give away the plot or any. But this movie ends with Muhammad Ali knocking out George Foreman. So it's called.
We all knew that happened.
I know. That's why it's spoiler alert. I'm joking. It's So the movie I want to mention, it's a documentary. It's called When We Were Kings. It came out in 1996. It's 90 minutes long. It was a limited release in the theaters in 96. So I actually saw it I took my mom and dad to movies in 1996 at Piper's Alley. We went and saw it. It's awesome. It's about the Rumble in the Jungle. It took place October 30th, 1974 in Zaire, Africa. Obviously, Foreman versus Ali, the famous rope-a-dope, Rumble in the Jungle. It won an Oscar for best documentary feature. It's fantastic. Now, this is the great thing about the movie. It was made in 1974. This guy spent 22 years trying to put this together. It wasn't released until 1996. In fact, no one had ever seen any of this footage prior to 1996. So there's a lot of financial problems trying to get this thing made and put together. So, I mean, the footage and stuff is from day one. It's 100% all footage and all interviews. Well, actually, there's some interviews of more recent times, like with Thomas Hauser, who was his autobiographer, Muhammad Ali's autobiographer, which is a great book, Ali. I read that. It's like 700 pages.
Oh, yeah, great book.
It's so good. But, yeah, no, so it's basically, it's just all about when Don King came up with the idea to have this Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire. There's a lot of controversy because the president of Zaire is known for, real bad things, so
Being a warlord?
something like
He
that.
was basically a warlord, yeah.
So they had it there, but and it just happened. I mean, it's great. There's an awesome soundtrack that came out a year or two after the movie. But I mean, like James Brown played there, the Spinners played there, B.B. King. So they had it was a big production over a week leading up to the fight. Concerts and all this stuff going on. But it's a documentary about the beginning of this, how King came up with the idea, how he got it sold, how he got James Brown and all these performers on board to come out there, and how he got Ali and Foreman to actually get this fight off in 1974 when Ali was obviously towards the end of his career, and George Foreman was at the peak.
Yeah.
Two different fighters altogether. And
Yeah, basically, like he was like Mike Tyson back then. He
Yeah,
was like
Foreman
basically
was-
Mike Tyson, and basically Ali probably was the Buster Douglas. I mean, he was obviously better than Buster Douglas, but Ali was definitely on the decline, and Foreman, like I said, was at the top
he
of his
hadn't
game.
fought. He was suspended because of his
Vietnam, the
Yeah,
Vietnam War.
Vietnam
yeah,
thing.
Yeah. He was a conscientious objector, and they took away his title and they suspended him. So he had I believe he only had a couple of like warm up fights before this. This was the
Well, plus George Foreman, like I said, he was the Mike Tyson. I mean, he's like knocking everybody out. I mean, he was like scary.
Yeah,
He
it
was
was-
a little bit more of a brawler, yeah.
yeah.
monster. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But have either of you seen this?
I've seen it.
I've seen part of it.
Amazing.
Yeah, like a long time
Absolutely
ago.
amazing.
It's absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's 90 minutes long. It's really, it's you learn a lot. And what's great, I mean, the thing that's fascinating about it is that this footage just stayed, under lock and seal for 22 years basically, until this came out. That's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, When We Were Kings, 1996 was the release date. Again, 90 minutes long. Director Leon Gast, that's who put it together. That's the guy who had the foresight to actually bring the film crew, film all this, interview everybody, including the two fighters, their trainers, people with knowledge of them. This is where, the movie that Will Smith did?
Yeah,
Ali.
yeah.
It's basically, I mean, they use this footage, and it's almost, a lot of those scenes in that movie are taken right out of this documentary.
And you don't necessarily have to like boxing for this.
No, hell no.
Because
They don't show any boxing until
right,
the end. I mean,
right, because it's a lot more about the concept of the people and putting it all together and kind of forcing these two guys together, right? Like it's the
they both wanted to be there.
right,
to fight.
but not even that. But it's like the concept of putting these two people together, and how they set up and promote this thing,
Yeah.
and all the background stuff, because it is in Zaire, and it is. I mean, the guy is bad news. I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who ran Zaire. I can't think of his
I had
name
it
off the
written
top
down.
of my
I
head.
can't either.
Yeah, but it's a
But
it's
there's
a
basically he basically imprisoned like thousands and thousands of people to clean up Zaire and make it look like it's not what it is. When all the Americans showed up and all the cameras showed up and all this and all the press showed up, because obviously every person in the media from all over the world came to Zaire for this fight leading up to the event. So he spent weeks just arresting people that he thought would be a disruption or be, trouble for the government or paint a bad picture, and they were actually imprisoned underneath the fucking stadium.
Wow.
They built a prison underneath the stadium.
Wow.
I mean, the Brazil Olympics. I mean, most of the Olympics that we see when
Very
they do
similar,
that,
yeah.
right? I mean, right? It is, clean everything up.
Yep.
Take all the bad people, right? And do
Off the street.
that.
Yeah. Because the
Yeah.
world's watching.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up, man.
Yeah, it is.
That is really messed up. All right, so I want to do something a little not as messed up. Do you guys have any airline stories that are bad, like something that really bad happened to you?
To me personally, no, I wouldn't say.
So you've never had any really bad?
Yeah, we
Well,
talked about. We had a couple
the
stories.
only thing that happened to me that I think one time I showed up at the airport like 30 minutes before my flight, and I tried to check a bag, and they wouldn't let me check the bag because I had to check it 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I've
I had to
seen
wait.
that.
I had to wait for like another flight that I caught like 2 hours later. So, other than that, I mean,
So
Yeah.
I had a not sure if I talked about it on the show or not, but I had to go to work. I had to work in. I had spent 2 weeks in Springfield, Missouri, and I flew out of O'Hare to Springfield, and then I had to come home the next weekend. So I flew from Springfield to O'Hare, and then had to fly back. And I was flying out on the Sunday, and I had to be back to work Monday morning, like 7 in the morning. So my flight was leaving at 6 o'clock out of O'Hare to Springfield. Springfield, Missouri is tiny, very small. Their airport is smaller. It's crazy, but it's a brand new airport, but it's tiny. And perfect weather, middle of July. Perfect weather between here and St. Louis, between here and Springfield. Flight was delayed, finally canceled. They canceled my flight at like midnight. And they said it was due to weather. And so I was fucked. I'm like, okay, well, I had to rent a car, and I
So
drove.
you had to planes, trains, and automobile?
I did. So I actually I went down to I went to the car rental, and all the car rentals were closed already because it was almost midnight.
And just one fat guy.
But I found one that was open, and I got in a car and I drove my ass. And Springfield is much further than St. Louis. You can make it in 5 hours.
Yeah.
I've made it there in 4.5 hours. St. Louis is like 300 miles.
yeah, that's far. That's like 6 hours, 6.5 hours.
Springfield's another almost 2 hours
Yeah,
outside of St. Louis, and I drove and I made it back.
nice.
I actually fell asleep. I had to actually pull over and
Yeah.
get a hotel room just to sleep for because I was in a bad.
But
yeah.
but it's almost kind of like a little adventure at that point. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, something
No,
did.
it's horrible.
Actually, something bad did happen.
It's an
A
adventure.
few years ago, I was actually with my family somewhere, and we were taking like a 10:30 p.m. flight back to wherever we were back to Chicago, and we show up at the airport, and the it's canceled. But we never got like an alert from the airline, so we just basically had to find a hotel. This is like 11:30 at night now, midnight, and so we found out like some hotel in kind of unfortunately like a seedy part of town. And,
Well, it's by an airport.
And they just caught like a shuttle bus, like a 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. shuttle bus back to the airport to catch the earliest flight. And I just remember on the shuttle bus ride back, there was like some guy like singing. He was harmless, but he looked kind of like scary. He looked like I just got out of prison type vibe. And but he was just singing like kind of out loud on this quiet shuttle bus.
The greatest Garrett Morris song of all. I'm going to get me a shotgun and kill all the whiteys I see.
I gave $1 to him. I'm like, hey, good job. I said, bravo. I said, you're like an angel. You have the voice of an angel.
Did he look at you and go, man, $1 ain't enough, man. If you want to get off this bus.
I said, I really like that tattoo that teardrop under your eye there.
Well, here,
Did you know airports close?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Tucson,
know that.
Tucson Airport closes at midnight.
Well,
I didn't know that.
Kelly and I flew home from our honeymoon, and we flew from Honolulu to LAX, and then had to catch a plane from LAX to O'Hare. And we flew into LAX, and it was, I don't know, like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning, stateside time, like California time. And our flight wasn't leaving until 5 or 6 in the morning. So between like 2 and our flight, they closed.
like they made you leave?
We had to fucking leave.
What,
the
stand
airport.
outside?
I slept in the baggage terminal outside. They wouldn't let you in the terminals, the gated area, the terminals. You had to vacate. They closed that all down. We were down in baggage claim at LAX from like 3 in the morning till 6 in the morning with nobody. The doors are open and everything. Like people are walking in because it's the downstairs of the baggage claim area.
So people are walking in
Dude, it
to
was
go to work and stuff?
insane. No, people are walking in like, I don't know.
Like the homeless?
Well, there was a couple of instances like that, but anybody getting over there probably had a car. But there was like seedy cars stopping, coming in, checking out, maybe looking for a bag or something. I don't know. But, dude, it was the creepiest, one of the worst, scariest experiences I had. And we were dead tired. We were up, at that point, we were almost up 24 hours because we had to catch our flight from the main island, go to Oahu, and then fly to LAX, and then get through LAX. So there was 3 hours. I think it was 3 hours that we were down at baggage claim, and not a soul, no security, nothing. And you just see, like, out, and it's like, man. So I had to stay awake. I'm like, and I let Kelly sleep. I mean, I was dozing off a couple times. I'm like, all right, we got this.
It's like zombie apocalypse. Like you can't fall asleep. It's like when you're at the abandoned mall, but one of you has to stand guard. You're going to get eaten.
You mean the sleepy guy? Well,
That's when I learned that they close airports.
Yeah, okay.
So
you learned the hard way. You
Yeah.
learned the hard way.
Cheryl went down to visit her sister in Atlanta, got to the airport, and basically as they get to the airport, they get a notice that her flight's delayed, right? Supposed to be back here in Chicago at 11:45. So she got there at like 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. It's only like an hour and a half flight, whatever. So she gets there. They're like, oh, her sister lives like an hour away. She's like, just leave me. I'll stay. They keep going. It keeps getting delayed, and it's Frontier Airlines.
Oof.
So it's just like three. It's like the three fucking stooges,
Yeah.
running around, and they're all saying different things and doing different things. And I guess they let everybody know that they just didn't have a flight crew. There was, and I told her, I said, when she said she doing Frontier, I said, don't press the button on that. Just spend whatever it takes to get American Airlines or whatever.
Yeah.
So she's there. I'm getting the text.
I never even thought of that. I never even thought just say the employees didn't show up for work. You can't have the flight.
I think what happened was the connecting flight of the people who were going to fly, it just never got there for whatever reason. There was, storm. What do you call it? Hurricane Debbie was just starting down in Florida, right? All this stuff. So she's there. So she's supposed to be here at 5. She's supposed to be here at 11 o'clock, 11:30, whatever. They finally get it. She walks in the door at 6 a.m. So she was basically up for 24 hours, but she was at the airport, and different people from Frontier are telling her, this is why we're doing it. This is why we're doing it. And then they're saying stuff like, we have no idea what's going to happen. We have no idea what's going on. And I'm just like, it is literally Frontier and Spirit Airlines, the worst.
That's bad.
The worst. I know.
Yeah. My cousin is a pilot for Spirit. I shut up. I don't say. I just saw him on 4th of July. I don't say anything. He was in the military, Air Force. Okay. His brother's still in the Air Force.
So
flies a helicopter. But he's. I don't ask him any questions because I saw that whole thing on 60 Minutes about Spirit Airlines and I
know they're the worst.
Dude, the worst. He's a pilot. I don't say anything. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's changed from what they did on there. But
no, Spirit Airlines and Frontier. Yeah. No. But I'm assuming you start there and then you move up.
Well, he's been there a few years now.
Okay, or you suck at flying. Maybe he's the reason why Cheryl was late. No, it's just so. And the reason I ask you guys this is I know airlines get a bad rap all the time, right? And we hear all these things, right? But this.
Wait, I want to add one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you guess? So our flight from Honolulu to LAX, we weren't supposed to be on that flight, so we did a puddle jumper from the Big Island to Oahu, and then our main flight was supposed to be direct to O'Hare, but they would not allow. So we used all my wife's. She had all this mileage built up, so we used that mileage to upgrade to first class to and from Hawaii for our honeymoon.
Oh, nice!
It was amazing flying there. First class, all straight to or wherever Maui.
Yeah. How long was that flight?
Like 9 hours.
Oh yeah, that's first class. That's probably a little more
awesome.
palatable.
So then, when we're in Honolulu trying to catch our flight to O'Hare, they said we got a problem. We don't have enough meals.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's United Airlines. We can't let you on this flight. We don't have. We don't.
What, are you going to die?
Listen,
you will die without food.
So they said we don't have enough meals, so we can't let you on the flight. Like, we have a ticket. That's fine. We won't eat. They're like, no, you can't do that. We can't do that because you're going to get on a flight and you're going to want to eat, and we can't feed you.
How long was the flight?
From LAX to from Honolulu to O'Hare is like 8.5 hours on the way back.
No one's ever gone. Well,
Or
I can
no,
see this.
no, it
No
was like
one's
9
ever gone 9 hours without eating.
They
So
would
you would
not-
probably die.
There'd be a mutiny. There'd be a mutiny.
Hey,
yeah.
listen, if
Did
I'm
you-
lying, I'm dying. That is
No, I
so.
believe
This
it.
is why we could not get on our flight. So they tried their best to find another flight that could accommodate us. But remind you, we had first class tickets. So now they won't put us in coach either. They have to find another. They have to replace our first class ticket.
Hell yeah, you're not a commoner.
So no, this is we said, listen, at this point, we just fucking want to get home. So now we've been at the airport for a few hours, and they're trying to find a flight to get us from Honolulu to O'Hare, and they ran out. So now we got it. So now it's like very, very late at night, like 9 to 10 at night. So now we got to take a flight to LAX, and that's what the whole story, the time change and the flight. Now we're not normal. Normal people that got off that plane, they all went home. We were the only two on that plane that were catching a connecting flight in an airport that was fucking closed. That's where this whole situation.
All because they didn't have some sliced beef
because
and
they
some
didn't
mashed
have
potatoes.
a meal for either of us on first class, and we told them we won't eat. They said we can't do that because you want to eat. So if we
Do you-
can't,
do you
it's
have
our
a- Do
policy.
you have a beverage cart?
Yeah, I was. You know what? That is so funny. Let me ask you this:
We'll eat the lemons and the oranges from your beverage cart.
Did you run out of alcohol? Nope. All right, I'm pretty sure that I can make it to
Can
O'Hare.
you believe that?
I'll be
That's United Airlines, by the way.
I'll be honest with you. A Bloody Mary is kind of like a meal in a cup. You know, if you put the olives in there and stuff like that, it is kind of filling.
Ted, a cup here. First of all, if you're going that long, you're probably going to fall asleep, right? You're in first class. It's super comfortable. You're going to have a nice pillow. There's nobody sitting next to you except your wife, right? It's just two people, right? You're just like, listen, I'm going to walk on the flight. I'm going to get fucked up immediately. Give me like 4 gin and tonics. And by the way, 0 tonic, right? I go, you'll be doing this, sir, you're home. Yeah,
that
that's
was
all.
fantastic.
What, you know what you say in response? You just say, well, you know, humans can go 2 weeks without food
No,
you don't need food
There was absolutely no negotiating
to survive.
That was the first thing that came out of our mouths. Fine, we won't eat.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. Could you ask? You know what? I'll tell you what. Any food that's left over, you bring that little tray over and give me a piece of bread, and I'll just sop up the gravy.
Can't I just buy some food at the airport, like at McDonald's? Buy like 3 bags of McDonald's burgers or cheeseburgers, and
There's
I'll
nothing
just.
you could say that. I mean, we were.
It's
they
impossible situation. There's
that-
nothing we can do. There's nothing we can. It's like stage 4 liver cancer. It's the same thing. There's
You know what I
there's
think?
nothing we
You
can
know
do
what
for
I
you.
think happened?
They ran out of Pop-Tarts?
No, some big shot
Took your spot.
flew first class
Yeah.
direct to fucking O'Hare,
No doubt about it.
and they randomly picked us because we upgraded using mileage.
Yeah.
They randomly picked
You
us.
were the sacrificial lamb,
Yeah.
unbeknownst to you.
They didn't pay for this.
Yeah.
They didn't pay for
You
it
didn't.
anyway.
You didn't build that.
They researched
Well,
it. They
just-
found out we used mileage to upgrade. We bought a basic ticket, upgraded with mileage. There's some big shot needs to get
you're-
first class, and we
So
got.
you're getting a freebie,
Yeah.
and they decided to pull the rug out from under you.
Okay, so the reason I said this is JetBlue. I mean, I don't know anything about JetBlue.
I've never
is
flown
that
JetBlue.
Is that a
It's
cheap?
an
JetBlue?
airline.
Is that a cheapie
Because
too?
he needed the money.
It's
Ugh.
an airline.
Okay, so JetBlue. There's a woman on a flight, on a JetBlue flight. Her and her husband, and she had a French bulldog with her.
Was it an emotional support animal, or was it a what's the other one? A service animal.
No, it's just
So-
a pet. You could bring a pet on.
No. She claimed. So here's the problem. She's on the flight, and she claims that this French bulldog, I guess it's some shitty little ugly dog, was a service animal.
Service dog. So that's protected under Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right.
If it's
So-
a service animal.
And if you know anything about flying now,
it's a service
recently, there are no more emotional suppet pigs, emotional suppet, snakes. There is no more of that.
What about an iguana?
Yeah. Okay. So she said it was a service animal, and they did the one thing
Will
that
you
everybody.
answer Ted about the iguana, please?
Yes. What? It was a service iguana. Yeah. And so they did the thing. I guess the new thing is that you have a legitimate paper.
You have to have papers. You have to have some proof.
Showed me your papers.
Exactly.
Yes. And she obviously did not. It was not a service animal.
Yeah.
Right. It was their dog.
It was
So-
make believe.
So
it was their dog.
Fantasy.
It was just
it was a pet.
yeah,
It was Puggles,
yeah.
and just wanted to take
yeah,
a road
it's just
trip.
their ugly fucking dog. Okay. And so they said
Too cheap to board it.
Well, it wasn't a pug, but they're still ugly.
they're still ugly. So they said to her, listen, this dog has to go in a cage. It has to go down down in the
hatch.
the hatch, the
where
hole.
where the oxygen level might be a little suspect.
No, I don't think it's suspect in any way. But
I've seen people keep their animals in a carrier under their seat.
right. And
A
here's the
cat,
thing:
a woman had a cat on the plane.
I don't think that's as prevalent as it was before.
Yeah, you may be right.
And here's the weird thing, because I've seen that too. I am super allergic to cats.
See, I always wondered about that. My family is
Super.
too. I'm not, but my wife and kids are.
Like if a cat's in a room,
yeah.
I'm kind of screwed. Okay, so I always wondered about that. Like, how can you even do that? Like,
Yeah.
if you can't give out fucking peanuts anymore, then you can't have a cat. Okay, but okay, whatever. So they said, listen, you got to put it in this cage. You got to put it down there.
So they were still letting her on the flight, but just with those conditions. You just can't have it sitting in your lap.
right.
So,
So
they offered a reasonable alternative.
Not reasonable at all.
I see.
For her,
I see.
it was not reasonable.
Yeah.
So she had to get on the flight where someone would buy her story.
Buy
okay?
your line of bullshit, yeah.
And
And did somebody do it? I mean, so if this airline
I
wouldn't let her on,
guess-
what makes you think the other airline wouldn't
I
follow the
guess-
same procedure? or the same
allegedly,
protocol?
according to her, American Airlines or United
Yeah.
let her fly with her dog.
Maybe she
Now-
confused Frontier and Spirit with American United.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So here's the problem. She is now suing JetBlue. Now, you would think that she's suing because she couldn't get her fucking dog on there, right? Nope. She's suing JetBlue because she says her cancer came back because of the stress of not having her emotional support dog there. And now she is claiming that she now has her cancer back because JetBlue did not allow her to fly with her stupid fucking dog.
Is that like that song, My Boyfriend's Back, and you're gonna my cancer is back, and you're gonna be in trouble, Eli.
now,
my cancer's back. But here's my argument. If I was an attorney for the airline, but ma'am, the dog never left you. You just couldn't board the plane. It's not like we took your dog, and because isn't the whole premise of the emotional support dog is like
It
I
was
need
the
this emotional
stress.
support.
It was Ted. It was the stress.
We didn't separate you from your dog.
Yes. No. She claims that it was the stress.
We just separated you from the plane.
Right. Right. So now she is suing them.
They should have offered her to sit down there with the dog.
So,
Unacceptable.
but would she still sue the airline? Because if she's technically separated from her emotional support dog, wouldn't that be stressful to her as well? Because then she doesn't have it with her. So
Teddy,
she
I
would
have
have
no
sued them either way, right?
You know what? My guess is she was going to sue them as soon as they said, take that ugly fucking dog, put it in a fucking cage, and
Take
get it the
this
fuck out
job
of here.
and shove it.
Yeah. I just feel like that was, I mean, that's where we're at now. It seems
Well,
intense.
But you know what the worst part is? Let's assume, I'm assuming she's doing this pro se, like without an attorney, but let's just say she went to an attorney's office and told them the story, and they were so compelled by the story, they're like, yes, we're going to take your case.
I'm assuming they here's how
Yeah.
compelled they were. Ma'am, do you have the money to get us started with this? You do? I am outraged. I'm absolutely outraged.
I'm going to sue Ted.
Only attorneys have gone to, you can tell how attorneys outraged they are. The better the law school they go to, the more outraged they are. So, if you go to Harvard or Yale, you are super outraged. You're beside yourself with rage. If you went to John Marshall, you're just kind of mildly upset,
No, I think it has to be how much money the person when the person who walks in, how much starter money they have,
Yeah.
would seem to me to be how much outrage I would have.
I'll give you a $10,000 retainer. This is outrageous.
I am sickened right now. Not as sick as you because you have, your cancer's back. Yeah. But it was so funny because they're like, how could you possibly prove that? And her lawyer was just like, oh, we have ways. We have ways. Yeah. So, all right. Last thing. We always talk about the hill you want to die on,
Yes.
right?
Not lately.
Right. But I have one.
All right.
I have one. Okay.
I love the hill you want to die.
You guys remember a couple of weeks ago, and this seems so weird to me. A couple of weeks ago, somebody tried to kill Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Right?
And now no one's talking about it anymore.
Right. It's
like
so weird.
It's like it just vanished.
It's like it just vanished.
Oh, by the way, I was in Lake Geneva this last weekend, and there's a couple of shops along the main street there by the beach,
Jesus.
and they did have the Donald Trump shirt with him with his fist in the air with his two bodyguards around him, and but they did have a Kamala Harris shirt next to it to balance it out. So
Kamala.
Just Kamala. I thought the only Kamala I know is that wrestler from WWE, the wrestler Kamala, that big guy back from the '80s.
Is he the fucking worst?
But you don't mispronounce his name.
Right. You are. It is so funny when we talk, and it's so funny when we sit at the bar and we'll talk about
No,
this
that's
stuff.
That's
and I'm
Kamala.
like,
That's
I'm like,
Kamala.
Yeah, and I'm like your boy Donald Trump. He's like, he's not my boy, and then you defend him like to the nth team.
No, I'm not. Anyway, go ahead.
But
yeah.
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
We'll go down that whole.
So he was shot in Beaver County, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yeah, Beaver County, Pennsylvania.
all right.
Okay. The Beaver County, Pennsylvania police have picked a hill to die on.
And what might that be?
They went on CNN and said that they believe that the Secret Service is lying to the people about what happened when Trump got shot.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
picking a fight they can't win.
Yeah.
So they are
It's happened on television.
right. They are saying that they didn't look bad. Okay, and if you look at all the proof, that everything that Secret Service is saying is a lie.
Well, they did have hearings with the Secret Service where they did grill the. I think the lady who's in charge, her name was Cheadle, who has since resigned. By the way, they
Well,
basically
don't you have to resign?
Yeah, I mean,
if your guy gets shot
the guy's 140 yards away with a straight shot. You could actually there's so much videotape of him on the roof with the tripod and the people pointing him out. And apparently, everybody saw him.
that's fake, Ted.
Everybody saw him except the counter snipers and the drones.
dude, according to the Beaver County Police,
Because the slanted roof, I mean, you can't
all
see
of that
shit.
is fake.
You can't see shit.
all of that is fake. And now they are, and they have spent the last weeks, week and a half, going after the Secret Service. And I just feel like this is going to come back and bite the Beaver County Police in the ass. Is that really the hill you want to die on?
I don't even think you have to even say. I don't even have to blame the Secret Service. I think it's just like a given that it's ultimately the Secret Service's responsibility to protect the presidential candidate, and with the help of local law enforcement. But ultimately, if something goes bad, it's on the Secret Service because they're supposed to be the elite, top tier, security, right? And they just
Right.
work with local law enforcement. So I think they made a mistake by going on and blaming him because I think the congressional hearing they're already blaming him. So they don't have to do anything. They could just sit back and
I think the whole scenario is
just
a
piling
shit
it- they're
show
just
to
piling it
begin
on,
with.
yeah.
He does these fucking
Yeah.
rallies every fucking other day, and these fucking half-baked fucking towns. It's like a shit show, right, on the road. It's just a matter of time. You said it before. It's just a matter of time before something fucking happens.
We talked about this like 100 episodes ago. We just talked about it's just a matter of time before a high-level politician. We didn't think it was going to be this high level, but before there was going to be an attempt.
Well, no,
like
we
an
were
actual
talking
attempt.
about just Trump in general, the amount of rallies he does.
Yeah.
The
But
outdoor venues.
but just the rhetoric in general between both sides going back and forth. We talked about it's just a matter of time before words become actions, because a lone wolf, like you said, is just going to take it upon themselves. Obviously, someone who's mentally disturbed, easily impressionable, and that's what happened. That's what happened a few weeks ago.
What I'm saying is he has so many of these rallies that it's like a turnkey process for the Secret Service and the local municipalities. They got to put this together. Sometimes it's on short notice to change the venues. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. They're asleep at the wheel. Oh, we just did one here. We just did one here. It's like nonstop, right?
It would be.
And
it would be.
They
tough.
just got laxed, I guess. And I don't know. I mean, this is what happened.
Yeah, they just messed up. They missed. They just didn't do.
It's a numbers game, right?
They took it for granted that this is going to be like the last 150, 200 rallies, and it wasn't. So
yeah, but if you're the Beaver County Police, don't you take your end of the blame? Listen, and it's not a lot. It's not like the Secret Service is saying it's all on these local cops.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous. But don't you just you eat whatever it is?
Yeah.
You figure out how to do it better.
Yeah.
But what you don't want to do is, do you really want to piss off
Well,
the Secret
the
Service?
But you know what?
government,
I could see the Secret Service looking down on them when them trying to tell them this, and this, and they're like, "We got this, okay?"
Yeah, well, it's like the FBI comes to town and they take over
yeah.
a local investigation. I think the perception is, the FBI is like the elite law enforcement, and you're just the local sheriff's department. We're gonna do the profiling.
We've seen
to
enough
find out.
movies, Ted.
Yeah.
The local people,
That's my
they
point.
care
That's
more.
what
The
I said.
locals,
They
yeah.
care more, right? And they'll find the guy.
What I'm saying is they probably felt like second-class citizens when the feds came in to take over all the security for that, and now this shit happens, and they're probably saying, "We told you, like we wanted to help, but you guys shown us out and whatever."
Yeah,
I don't know exactly what the hill that they're standing
Yeah, it doesn't
on.
even make any sense because
I haven't heard anything.
Because less is more. Because, like I said, ultimately the Secret Service is already getting blamed, like nationally, so they don't have to
Right.
do anything. They could just sit back and, like I said, even if they could just do a mea culpa, just say, "Hey, we apologize for whatever perceived failings on our part." But obviously, at the end of the day, no one's going to remember the Beaver County Police Department.
Beaver County Police.
No one's going to remember them. So and I wouldn't blame them.
You are now,
Yeah.
because they said the Secret Service is a bunch of fuck ups. Yeah, yeah. And the main thing was, and this is what is really really weird, is that they basically said they said the Secret Service is lying. They said all the pictures and all the things and all the stuff, it was a lie.
Yeah.
I just feel like, man, when something happens in Beaver County the next time, and they're like, hey, we need, X, Y, and Z, they're just be like, yeah, we don't have anybody.
Well, I mean, the Secret
think they're
Service
gonna be
isn't the
they'll
same.
be
It isn't. It's not the same as the FBI. I mean, the Secret Service is literally just dedicated to protecting, the president or high level, officials from the Senate. So they're not really even though they're the same general agency, but they're not like the FBI. So, like, if there was like a federal, like, for example, say there was like a serial killer in the area, and, hey, we need the FBI to profile this potential killer. We need an FBI profiler. I can't imagine like them saying, "Oh, well, you hurt the Secret Service's feelings, so yeah, you're gonna have to figure it out yourself."
So you're saying because there's movies about the FBI and almost no movies about the Secret Service except Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, what movie was that with John Malkovich?
In the Line of Fire.
Yeah, Line of Fire.
Oh, I love
the wooden
that
gun.
one.
He's got the wooden
Why'd
gun.
you shoot that duck, asshole?
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess I just thought it was just bad optics.
Yeah.
Just what, eat it, and I mean, who would have thought? Because they did this last week. Who would have thought a week later? It's not even news anymore.
I actually liked Garden Tess.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage and what's her name?
She was the old crazy lady from Steel Magnolias or something.
Oh, not what's her name?
Damn it! Oh,
Julia Margolis
No,
or
no.
not Helen Mirren?
She does.
Mark's looking it up. Thank God.
What's her name? Wasn't she going out with Jack Nicklaus back in the day? That other
No, it wasn't. No.
Yeah, no, that she
It wasn't.
might have been.
It wasn't
Angelica
Not
Houston.
No, not Angelica.
No,
I
not
don't-
Angelica
I don't know- I
Houston.
don't know that.
By the way, hot in her day. Yeah, very hot.
Shirley
in her day.
MacLaine.
Shirley MacLaine.
yeah.
She's crazy.
Yeah.
She's a little on the shit side. Yeah.
Was she in Driving Miss Daisy?
No. That was a good movie though. Garden Tess.
Guarding Tess. Oh,
1994.
man. Guarding Tess.
Yeah. Wow. 30 years ago.
Crazy.
Holy shit. Oh man, that makes that actually makes me feel old sometimes. All right,
Me too.
All right, so I just want to. I don't know. It just seemed weird to me, so I wanted to get that out there. If you're in Beaver County and you're a policeman there, I'm sure you're doing a great job. Just sometimes you got to eat some shit, man. Yeah. That's the way life is.
One big shit sandwich, and we all got to take a bite.
What is that? Oh, I
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. Damn it! I'm really bad with this. All right, let's put this thing to bed. Ted, you go last today.
Ooh.
Mark, you go first.
So that means I go first.
Yep.
See? All right, choose your airline wisely. And I had a bad experience flying United, and I still say that. And I'm flying United at the end of this month.
Where are you going?
No, American. I'm flying to Minnesota for a few days.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cheryl and Jack and Jack's girlfriend, my sister, a bunch of people are headed to London on Tuesday. Yeah, a week from today. So
They're not flying Spirit.
They're not. Just,
I will
could
tell
you
you,
imagine
what's
Spirit trying to fly across an ocean?
the other
They'd
thing
be
about
dead
airlines?
in 5 minutes.
When we pick our flights, we look at the price, right? I do.
Right.
But then I consider only like two airlines, like United or American, because we're in Chicago. So,
Right.
United's hubs here, and America's pretty big. But we flew to Arizona. I told you a story. You and Ted flew to Arizona and got good airline tickets flying into Phoenix. I had to fly into Tucson. This is true. At the same time we were booking tickets to go to Tucson, my oldest was looking for a ticket to go to Hawaii because his roommate lives in Hawaii, in Honolulu.
Oh, right. You told me this. Yeah.
His ticket on United to Honolulu, direct flight from O'Hare, was cheaper than our fucking ticket from O'Hare direct to Tucson.
Wow, that's crazy.
By like $50. It was cheaper to fly to Honolulu than it was to Tucson. And when he called,
Teddy, we're going to Hawaii next.
He
year.
called. He asked. He said, "Hey, is this a good price?" It was like $855. I'm like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, we just paid more than that to fly to fucking Tucson." I'm like, "Yeah, buy it, dude. Pay for it. Do it."
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, but choose your airline wisely because
Yeah.
it does make a difference. You want to, you're flying.
Oh man, yeah. You know what? When you're supposed to come home at what 11 and you walk in the house at 6 a.m. and you spend
But that can happen on an airline too. So
That
I
can.
don't know.
It
I mean,
can,
I guess
but
take what
not
I'm saying with a grain of
weather-related.
salt, but
Yeah.
the odds are you're going to get a little bit better experience flying one of the major, right?
Yeah, well, based on the story Cheryl was telling me, it was just like honestly, it was just like 7 people saying 19 different things, and it was terrible.
My mom flew Spirit one time a long time ago, and it was she's afraid to ever fly.
I flew Spirit once. worst experience
yeah,
of my life.
she was.
Yeah, because I mean, if you don't check in, you have to check in online. If you check in at the airport, it's like $50 more. If your bag is bigger, and they measured everything.
Oh, you have to put it in a little slot, and if it's bigger in that slot,
and they don't fuck around. Like a lot of places, they don't measure.
Yeah. The only thing they
measure
take
everything.
serious is the weight.
Yeah,
If it's over like 50 pounds or whatever, you got to pay a little bit more. But
Yeah.
other than that,
it was brutal.
Oh, so just ironically, I'm going to give my final thought if that's okay.
Go ahead.
So my final thought was when I was coming back from Tucson the last time, like I said, if your bag weighs more than 50 pounds, they charge you extra, right? And I didn't weigh it or anything, and I put it on the scale on the way back because I stuffed it with my clothes and everything. It weighed 50.0 on the dot.
I wonder, you know what?
On
That's
the
happened to
dot.
me more than once.
Yeah.
On the dot?
Yeah.
On the dot.
Yeah.
50.0.
Oh,
Remember?
Teddy, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
I
I
wonder
got a
if,
tattoo. I got a 50.0 tattoo.
But
on a little tramp stamp tattoo, 50.0.
but we were also put one on and it was like 52 pounds. They just take shit out of your bag.
Right.
And we just took stuff out, put it on a carry-on, and it hit 50
Yeah.
one time on the mark. So
I've done that before. I've done it before with the
which is
golf
cool.
stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
It is what it is. All right. You know what? And it was funny. My last thought was going to be pick your airline. Don't just pick for price. But you know what? Here's what
simple minds think alike.
Yeah, no kidding. Here's what I will say. I don't care who you vote for. I honestly don't. If you're a hardcore this, a hardcore that, do whatever. But man, just know the people that you're voting for a little bit for something that might be important to you, right? So if you have aldermen or mayors or governors, people are going to directly affect you. Just learn a little bit about them, just a little bit, so that especially if you have a choice, you can make a decent choice. And then that way you're kind of doing the right thing.
Well, local elections, I mean, obviously voting for the alderman is actually more important because in theory that directly affects your neighborhood. Yeah. But like a national election, unfortunately, it really is all about the electoral college. So I mean, which we want to say, get out there and vote the popular vote, but we all know.
You're talking about the president.
The president, yeah, we both know it's really up to the electoral college.
Yeah, because our vote here in Illinois won't matter.
It's not up to the electoral college; it's up to the states.
Path to 270, right? It's the 270 electoral votes as the president. It's just that simple.
Yeah,
so,
but you got to win the state. So
yeah. But this state, I mean, our state is
blue. Has been blue.
I know, but I mean, there's
California
swing states.
Yeah. Wait, is blue Democrat?
Blue's Democrat.
I don't even. Here's how disconnected I am. All the colors and all that stuff. I don't even listen anymore.
Yeah, they talk about the blue wall, which is supposedly that's the Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and if you carry those states, you win the presidency. And yeah, but like I said, California's always going to vote Democrat. New York's always going to vote Democrat. Texas, Florida, in theory, are going to mostly vote Republican. And it's just those few states here and there, like North Carolina, Arizona.
Well, if Florida has their way, there's only going to be about 35 people that can vote. Yeah, they've kind of limited it down, so it's kind of cool. Yeah. So 35 people will decide who the next president of the United States is. I kind of dig it. Yeah. All right, listen, we got some really cool stuff coming up. Got some fun guests coming up and some wild stuff. You guys are going to love it. Keep listening. Hit us up on social media. Hit us up on our website. Just enjoy what we're doing and then tell everybody so that we can be millionaires. Because I got to be honest with you, I want to be a millionaire.
I want to be a thousandaire.
What? No. I mean, if I had a million,
happen, Ted.
If I had 1,000, if I had a million thousands,
yeah, that's what I meant.
I'd be very
that's
happy.
What I meant.
All right, everybody enjoy. We will see you next week.